the topic is a very Vajrayana topic, so decoding the erotic bliss and tantric Buddhism. As a Tanka painter, I've seen many images, and I would like to show you a little bit about it. And but first, I'd like us to think about what is the erotic and what is the iconography and what is Tantra. So I'm very glad that our previous speaker, she was moving our bodies. So I would like to invite you, but that's much simpler, don't worry. But just for us to explore a little bit, to experience what can we reach within ourselves. So if you could just raise your hand into the space, put it down. Just do it again. Okay, that's very mechanical, that's very simple. Now I will add imagination to it, which is a big thing in Tantra, is the practice of visualization and imagination. So now you're going to raise your hand again, but you're going to imagine that you are licking the space as if the space was ice cream. You can almost feel the sweetness. And then you put it down again. And what a nice ice cream that space is. And then life can be much better that way. And it's so simple in the sense that this is within us. So it's not what I do, but how I do it. So when I talk about the erotic, is how I deal with life, how you can say so, how I make love with life, how I penetrate space, and how I let light penetrate my mind. So you have all the time relationship with life, engagement, and this is the moment when you fall in love with the world. And only from love you can feel compassion, real compassion, and want to engage with wisdom so you can really benefit others. But you have to feel it. This is the way of the Tantra because it engages with your feelings. So instead of avoiding desire, here Tantra invites you in a path of using desire as a fuel for awakening. So having an erotic vision towards life, experiencing bliss right now and not as something to attain through concept, it can happen right now. I can right now have a step forward and imagine that ice cream again, or a mousse, or, so then like dancers have to do that. So is that engagement, is aliveness. We are here because our parents loved each other. So opposite of renunciation in the ordinary form, it is the art of deeply engaging, connecting, and transcending through it, rather than opposite. So having understood the erotic as an energy that moves, and that's within us, it's available, and it can be awakened by doing anything, just by looking how the light, the angle that the light comes through the window, that can be very erotic. So I want to bring the erotic meaning in that sense, is how you see it. Especially when we talk about sexuality, animals have sex, but does it mean it has the erotic, it has the loving, so it has the power of imagination as well. So to start in this path, first let's just make it clear what do human beings feel. They, like without effort, we all suffer. It's easy, It's easy. I doubt something, I doubt myself, I doubt the love of others, I get attached, I get confused. So I see that no effort, I can really see my pain, my suffering. And the suffering can be the door to go through it. So it is, for example, studying my ignorance. By analyzing my own ignorance, I can come to the other side and find wisdom. So it's very easy. You start with the poison and transform as an antidote. So if we think of the moments that we most felt happy in our lives, blissful, it is the moment that, we felt loved, or we felt connected to others, especially. You feel this union. It can be an outer union with our family or loved ones or with nature, or within us. It's balance. So is when the barriers of separations dissolve, and this is called union. So in Tantra, how to experience union? We can imagine it as, putting very simple, outer union. So it's the engagement, the physical engagement. It can be with your partner, or it can be with loved ones. Just the matter with nature. So you're having that lover to have as a tool for you to feel. So it is the path of emotions. So not wanting to avoid, but wanting to harness them. And then the inner union is when you realize that you don't need actually the other, because all what you're feeling, all this energy rush is within you. And when you realize that, yes, you can be celibate, you can be a monk, you can be a nun, and nourish this energy within you. The secret union is when you feel that union with the divine meaning whole nature, the universe. You're not separated with it, from it. So this is the path of love. So Tantra uses all the stages of union for completion, that sense of completion. Tantra embodies the practices that promotes all levels of union. And when we see in the iconography, it's very important that we know, that we understand that Tibetan iconography, it's spiritual anatomy of my own self. So when I'm looking at a tanka, I'm gonna put here. No, when I'm looking at a tanka painting, soon I will show, I'm looking at my own mirror. So it's not that it's external deities in sexual union, but it's my own wisdom and compassion united. My own bliss and emptiness united within me. And then it gives the amrita, that sense of the sweetness of life when I have that union within me. So it's important to remember that that union depicted is the union within. As Yeshe Tsogyo said, she was the consort of Guru Padmasambhava, 8th century. Let male aid female, female aid male. Let each penetrate each other, as in weaving. Merge emptiness with bliss and allow the vital essences to pervade your being. Realize the fruit of passion, the great bliss, and let doubt and confusion disappear. And as I was saying before, from the Mahasiddha Saraha, this is myself, this is the other. Be free from this biting thought, and your true nature is thereby released. Do not err in the matter of self and other. Everything is Buddha without exception. Immaculate perfection in which mental forms appear in their very essence. So let's move, understanding those terms, the erotic and tantra, the aliveness, the sweetness that I can generate at any time. Let's talk about the iconography of the Yapyum images. So here we'll start with getting as example the female form of Vajrayogini, the supreme feminine deity of the Vajrayana. She is naked, red in color, holding a skull cup of blood and a flying knife. She represents the raw erotic energy of life force, desire, and direct realization of emptiness. One of her consorts is Hayagriva, a fierce, wrathful form of Avalokiteshvara, compassion embodied. And he shatters ignorance and ego, liberating beings from clinging. He represents transcendence, wisdom, and wrathful compassion. And here we see them in Yapyung in union. So this embrace is the embrace within you of wisdom and compassion. They are lovers. They have to dance together, like the two wings of a bird. So Hayagriva, the wrathful compassion, penetrating wisdom. Vajrayogini, the erotic fire, emptiness, radiating energy. So together they symbolize compassion and wisdom and indivisible union, which is the tantric definition of awakening. So the union posture that we see here, again, now Vajrayogini with Chakrasamvara, the merging of opposites. And now here I use a term, the Greek term of eros, which is the life drive, with thanatos, the death drive. Why that is important to consider that. And I think in many traditions they were talking about the life force and death force being also in battle within us, and how do they work? So in orgasmic release, there is both supreme aliveness and a tiny death. The ego, for a moment, dissolves. Tantra embraces that dissolution, not as annihilation, but as liberation. And the implements, as you see, Vajrayogini is holding a flying knife and a kapala, skull cup. This reminds us that the erotic bliss is inseparable from mortality. The skull is death, the nectar within is bliss. The knife cuts attachment, freeing desire into awakening. So let's just pick a little bit more about Eros and Thanatos, the idea of the life. You see, Eros seeks union, pleasure, continuity, creation, recreation. He wants to love, he wants to engage, he's curious, he's alive, he loves the world. Thanatos seeks release, rest, non-being, a return to the origin, death. So in this view, desire and death are not opposites, but complementary drives shaping human existence into a celebratory dance of two. And it's very interesting because the moment, and talking about death, what is the moment that we allow ourselves, that self, that ego, to dissolve? You surrender completely control for a lover or for the divine or for nature. Is that moment when you forget yourself, right? Is when you feel, I can feel existence penetrating me. I'm here, I'm alive. And then when you think again, oh, I have to do this, I'm that, you restrict yourself again. So that death is so important in the path of Tantra. So that's why it's by allowing that death of the self that you come to the sense of what they call emptiness. And it's from that empty stage, that vast stage of emptiness, that bliss can dance. So you see, when we see those images then, like here, this is what symbolizes. So of course, there in Tibet, you do have the actual outer Tantra, which you do practice with concert, but this is the first shell. What you're trying to attain is that union within, and it's available all the time. You don't need somebody else. You have existence, and you are within it. So Tantra brings these two together in the erotic embrace. Bliss arises precisely when the ego dissolves. The so-called little death of passion mirrors the great death of the self, revealing that is in surrender we touch the eternal. Erotic bliss is thus not only life-affirming, but also a preparation for death, the art of dying into freedom. So very interesting, because in basically every tradition, from Christianity, the mystic saints, from Rumi codes, we're going to see here, and the philosopher Raida Bataille also, everybody talks about that surrender to death and having that bliss moment, but through love of the divine. So you are transmuting that love that you experience and transmuting to the divine, which is inseparable from you and I. So when I'm in union with the divine, I am in union with you. So here a quote from the Vajrayana Tantra, that by which the world is bound, by that same energy it is released. By Bataille, eroticism is the approval of life even in death. By Kabir, a Sufi poet, when the soul meets the soul, there is no more you and I. There is the death that leads to life. By Rumi, die before you die, and you will be awakened. By St. John of the Cross, a Christian mystic, I die because I do not die. And then by Mirabai, also a Hindu mystic, I am dyed in the color of my beloved. Every part of me is soaked in him. When I die, I will only be in his arms. So erotic bliss is not just pleasure, but a rehearsal for the dissolution of death itself, a momentary experience of boundary loss, surrender, and timelessness within oneself. So this is what I could wrap for today. And I just invite you to let life enter you. It's available all the time. And this is the path. Yeah, so it's available right now. So thank you so much for this space. Thank you again, Buddhistdoor 2. Thank you.